Good evening and welcome to Newtown, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about the town, or if you can call it that, and in particular the story of salt in this area, and to take a few pictures of this amazing part of the Isle of Wight as the sun goes down. So I'm going to start off by looking at the old town hall and give you a quick look at that. So 1, 2, 3. Great. So there you go. That's Newtown Town Hall. Let's sorry, we're closed at the moment. It says welcome to Newtown and the old town hall. It's hard to believe that this tranquil hamlet was an important medieval port. As you explore, look for the grassy lanes that were once bustling streets. The meadows, woods and marshes are havens for beautiful and rare wildlife. The rise and fall of Newtown. Newtown was created in 1256 by the Bishop of Winchester. He divided the land into 73 burgages, long thin strips of land which he rented out. By the mid-1300s, around 300 people lived here, making a living from farming and trade from the harbour. However, the town was burnt down during a French attack in 1377. It's a beautiful evening, the sun going down, probably about an hour before sunset, and just walking along the old street here at Newtown, and there's a quaint church at the end of this road. At least, well, I don't know about the end of the road, but certainly where the road begins to curve around to my right. And daffodils still out. They won't be for much longer. Some of them looking very bedraggled, others looking very fine. This is looks like an old water pump. It says the old village pump, so restored in 1983. This was from 1894, so this is where the village once got its water from. Now we'll cut a little place you can sit and have a chat. The White House. It's actually calls itself the cottage, the definitive cottage. This area now is known for its abundant wildlife, in particular its bird life, and I can see a huge flock of gulls or geese or something to my right, certainly making a racket. It's a beautiful evening, not a cloud in the sky, and I'm hoping to get some nice shots of the sort of area, some pictures, and as I said, I want to tell you a little bit about the story of salt and how important it is in this area. And we come across a bird hive, which I guess must be shut at the moment due to COVID restrictions, but under normal times you can go in there and watch the birds and enjoy the wildlife. Right, so I don't know which way it is. The footpath, please protect the vulnerable wetland. Right, so not this way, this way. I've come to the Newtown salt marsh. I'll just show you the sign, and so spin you round. 1, 2, 3. That should spin. Yep. So it says, "Welcome to Newtown Estuary. From here you can enjoy beautiful views over the salt marsh, a rare and fragile habitat. Listen for bird song, such as the urgent call of the lapwing or the high-pitched cry of the oystercatcher. In winter, many wildfowl fly from Iceland to North Russia to feed up before returning to their breeding grounds." Okay, the salt marsh is bound together by the roots of cordgrass and glasswort. They form a delicate mat upon which other plants can grow and birds can nest. Without these plants, the marsh would be washed away by the tide. Okay, so I'm heading out to what was, until about 80 years ago, I think, some place where they, if you like, harvested salt. They evaporated seawater and they sold it commercially. So let's go and have a look. So I made it out to the end here, as far as you can walk, and oh, what a gorgeous evening. And looking around, I'll show you, looking back over the sort of old harbour area. You see it was quite extensive when it was used as a trading sort of port rather than just for leisure boats as it tends to be used now. And look, absolutely beautiful. The sun just going down. I'll be getting the camera out soon and taking a few pictures just to try and capture the scene. It's very flat, so I have to think a bit carefully about my compositions, but oh, what a lovely place to be. So Newtown Quay, this peaceful landscape ever changes with the seasons. In spring the marsh is carpeted in pale purple sea lavender. In summer it takes on a blue tinge of sea aster, while autumn sees the red glow of glasswort. In winter the estuary echoes with the cries of hundreds of birds. There has been a quay at Newtown since medieval times. In the 14th century Newtown was the most important port on the Isle of Wight. Its decline was largely due to silting and the growth of larger ports at Newport and Yarmouth. The two large ponds by the quay are salt pans, which were used for salt production until the 1930s. So here we are, so these were salt pans, as you can see here. I'm just going to walk around them. And so salt has been really important, really important, as we know, for life. And the word salt actually comes from the same kind of root as the word salary, and it was once thought that the word kind of derived from the Romans being paid the Roman soldiers being paid part of their wages in salt, but from what I've read, that theory no longer is held so much, but of course it still forms the basis of the word salary. And it is really been an important part of life. These are the salt pans here, and these used evaporation, so the seawater would come in, the water would be trapped and then left to evaporate. So I hope one or two of those have come out all right. The sun just beginning to set as I leave the salt marshes. I will tell you a bit more about the salt marshes when I get back into more sheltered climbs, as it were, just as I get back towards the car. Maybe sit down on the town hall steps and tell you a little bit about salt. But for the time being, I'm beaten in retreat. Such a glorious evening. Out the wind, which is nice, and I'm back to the town bit, if you can call it that, of Newtown and the old town hall. And I'm just going to sit on the steps as the last rays of sun disappear from the sky and tell you a little bit about salt. So climbing up the old town hall steps here, and oh, what a view! Well, I should have come here earlier. Maybe I should have just stayed here for the evening. Look at that. So throughout the ages, salt has been important for humans to survive. And I'm just reading here a little bit about salt in England. And it says salt was produced from both mines and the sea in medieval England. The open pan salt making method was used along the Lincolnshire coast and in the salt marshes and banks of the River Itchen in Hampshire, where salt production was a notable industry, as it was here in Newtown, which apparently, like Norwich, etc., is a name of a town with a specialist function, including quite largely a lot of towns with the name Witch at the end. Apparently the production of salt was an important function of the town. If you live by the coast, the easiest way to get salt was to evaporate seawater. And in the medieval period, the whole coastline could have been covered with salt ponds. We know the salts industry here at Newtown dates back many centuries. In the 17th century, there were 14 salt pans here. So salt here at Newtown, very important industry. This place was once much more thriving than it is now. It's a very beautiful, tranquil sort of place now, but relatively few people live here. Lots of bird life, etc. Lovely harbour. The harbour used to be much more important for the island than it is now. And so I hope some of those photographs I've taken have come out all right. I'd like to thank you for joining me, and I will see you on the next one.